All right. Live from San Francisco. We got a great view. What's the name of the bridge?
The Bay Bridge.
The Bay Bridge. Okay. It's only my fourth time in San Francisco, so.
Actually, I have a joke about it. So the first time I arrived in San Francisco, I was flying from India. I had like maybe 15 hours flight with a layover in Singapore, and I arrived in the morning and I checked in my Airbnb and I went to work, first day of work. And at the end of the day, I was working for a startup. They said, "Oh, do you want to go for a Giants game?" I said, "Okay, I'll go for
There's a local baseball team,
Exactly,
right? Yeah.
exactly. And so we were walking on these piers, and I was looking for the first time the Bay Bridge, and it was a Bay Bridge, and so I thought it would be bigger because I thought about the Golden Gate Bridge. So that's and that's why now I've been in San Francisco for like 10 years, and I can see it, and I can laugh at my
your
older
initial.
self. Yeah,
Well, it looks it's smaller than the Golden Gate Bridge,
much smaller.
but it's just as iconic.
Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful. Yeah.
All right. Look, what if you could live to 120 and stay in your prime? Today, I'm happy to welcome Arnaud, who's a VC at Cathay Innovation. He's a regular guest on the Silicon Carney podcast of our dear friend, Carlos Diaz. He's a longevity athlete. We're going to get into this. And he's also one of the co-founders of the Don't Die chapter of San Francisco. For people who don't know what Don't Die, it's Brian Johnson's movement. For people who don't know Brian Johnson, you're listening to the right episode. We're going to talk about longevity tech, venture capital, the future of human optimization. So Arnaud, let's get straight into it. You just told us you've been in San Francisco for 10 years. How did you become the longevity athlete, and how did you become the co-founder of the Don't Die San Francisco chapter?
Yeah, so I always consider myself as an athlete. I always love sports.
Runner?
Usually it was mostly playing soccer. Yeah, when I was in Provence, I was running in the mountain in Provence. But when I arrived in San Francisco, I was obese. I was living.
Oh, you're saying obese, like
obese, like I was
not overweight.
No, I was like 50 pounds heavier than what I am today.
Okay.
Before that, I was living in India, and then I was not able to work out as much as I wanted, and I was eating a lot of like the.
I mean, you can't work out outside India, right? I mean, you got to go to a gym or something. You know?
Yeah, especially in New Delhi when it was polluted. I could not go for a run. I could not play soccer. I could not swim, and I was eating a lot of rice and a lot of like carbs in India. And so fun fact: when I arrived to San Francisco, I wanted to get in better shape. And even though I was working out and trying to eat healthily, I didn't have good results. Up to a point I was upset because I was obese, pre-diabetic, high cholesterol, not good cardio, no strength, and I was depressed about all of this. So I decided to apply a Silicon Valley principle: is that you can only change what you measure. So I decided to measure.
Wait, you were running, you were exercising, but no results.
Yeah, no result.
And so you started saying, okay, I need to measure what's going on.
Exactly. So I decided to measure everything. So everything I could measure. So I did blood test, DNA test, food sensitivity test, gut health test. Basically, tests to understand what my body needed, also DEXA scan to have the real truth in front of my eye. And one number that shocked me even more than the one on my scale was my biological age. At 29, I've been told that I was 36.
No way.
So
what was it? Inside Tracker?
It was a blood test I've done. It was not Inside Tracker, but with a lab I've done that in San Francisco, and then to realize that I was basically aging faster, and it was like a shock to me. And then that's why after that I decided to measure also my sleep, my nutrition, my workout with like connected devices like the Oura Ring.
This is in 20. Are we talking about the initial premise of you realizing that you can measure? You need to measure to have an impact. Was that 2016, 2017?
So I was 29 when I faced that number, but 10 years ago, I moved to San Francisco. Then I tried to lose weight on my own with poor results for a few years. And then I had this test when I was 29 that showed me like I was like apparently biological age of 36. There was even bigger wake up call to even motivate me even more to track everything, to be accountable with my own self, about not bullshitting, but yes, I work out and then you eat. And actually, I was probably eating too much. Even if you eat healthy stuff, if it's in too big proportions, you can gain weight.
Sure.
And then by measuring everything and then tracking my result, improving little by little my protocols. And then long story short,
you've never felt better today.
Never felt better. I feel much younger. I think I look younger than I was maybe 6 years ago. And so
now you're actually the biological age that you were during that initial test. You're 36.
So I was born 37 years ago today. It's my birthday.
But you're...
Yeah.
But what's your age according to the latest blood test?
So from Superpower and Shape Scale, 2 different methods, they gave me a biological age of 23. So I was even younger than when I started my process. So I'm 13 years or 14 years younger.
So Superpower, it's one of those blood testing startup. And the other one, you said Shape Scale?
Shape Scale, yeah. Shape Scale is basically a body scan. It creates an avatar and it can also measure different parameters in your body. And they also gave me a biological age of 23.
And now I can see you're wearing the famous Omorpho jacket.
Yeah, exactly. So I consider myself as a longevity tech biohacker. So biohacker is basically leveraging technologies or any advancements of science to improve my health, my productivity, my longevity, my athletic performance. And Omorpho basically is like weighted apparel. So this is weighted vest of 10 pounds and I have weighted top of 3 pounds.
So you have 13 pounds extra just on you.
Yes. And
just because
if you wear up to 5% extra of your body weight, you burn 15% more calories. So with just my day-to-day life, I can have these marginal gains, but for me, it's also with the compound interest. We work in finance, we like compound interest. It's basically like doing everything and then it adds up, and also to see on my body that, that's part of my identity. I guess people read, Atomic Habits, and a big part.
I was going to say that the 1.01% sounds like
exactly, and also to make change about your identity. If you want to change about something, you have to make it about your identity. And so for me, it's I'm an athlete, and I was thinking, my ideal self is going for a run every day, is working out every day, and so I started to embrace the habits of my ideal self, but to become who I wanted to be. And so for me, it's like 2 hacks. It's a physiological hack and it's also a social hack because every time I'm around, people ask me about it because it looks weird,
I mean, we met, 2 hours ago? My first question was, what is that you're wearing?
Yes, exactly.
Great. And so you've gone to the step, you've studied the startups. I mean, you're wearing a different wearables. We'll talk about this. Can you tell us a bit more about my point was something that we can't see right now on camera, but we'll see in a minute. You're wearing a necklace.
Yes.
And the necklace, can you show it a little bit? It's the logo of Don't Die.
Yes, Don't Die.
Can you tell us a bit about the movement? How did it begin? What's the core philosophy?
So the movement had been created by Brian Johnson, who has a quite similar story as mine. He was also overweight, depressed, etc. He used to be a fintech entrepreneur. He created a startup called Braintree. Then he acquired Venmo, which is kind of the equivalent of Lydia in France.
Sure.
And then he sold it for almost 800 million to PayPal. And so when he made his big fortune, instead of just buying a McLaren like Elon Musk for his first exit, he decided to work on his health. And so he bought also a lot of gadgets, etc., to improve his health. And yes, he's also...
Where is he based in San Francisco?
He's now based in near Los Angeles. Yeah.
So LA, right? Okay.
But yeah, historically he was in Silicon Valley.
Okay.
And so basically he started this movement called Don't Die. So it's called Don't Die and not live live forever, because it could have so many different meanings for different people. And he realized, the very basic stuff on which almost 8 billion people agreed on today, not to die. And so before even to try to...
Good point. When you tell someone, hey, I want to live forever, you're going to get crazy looks. Or you're going to get looks like you're crazy.
Yeah.
When you're going to say to someone, I don't want to die, I mean, who wants to die?
Yeah, death is bad, right? And so basically, before even to try to rejuvenate, try not to kill yourself by not sleeping well, not eating well, not exercise well, or drinking alcohol, smoking tobacco, etc. That's the basic minimum. And then you're already on the way to eventually live better. And so even myself, I was skeptical about him because he's making bad buzz in the news because he did blood transfusion with his son and father, etc.
Is that really bad buzz? Do you think it's bad buzz? I'm not trying to get like...
I think he's a marketing genius. I think he did these procedures that like provocative and making the buzz on purpose to make people talk about it. But when I talk to longevity tech founders, they are telling me, yeah, like...
If I could, I would.
No,
right?
They say that Brian did more for the space, for the domain, to raise awareness about longevity than all the startups combined, like all the initiatives combined. And when I went to see him in person, he created the Don't Die Summit in San Francisco.
Perfect, so it's close. I mean,
exactly. It was just three blocks from here. And I was expecting to meet a lot of biohackers like me with a lot of like devices, etc. And I realized that 98% of the people who came to that event, they were like the average Joe who just wanted to live longer, healthier, And I realized, for me, it was a moment of realization that if the average Joe is even attracted to come to an event with this extreme figure, because the quest for longevity is massive.
Right.
And if biohacking, like what I'm doing, will stay niche, the quest for longevity is, for me, unlocking a transformation from sick care to healthcare.
Yeah, I guess for people who are not too familiar with those terms, there's a lot of people in the longevity community are critical of the way healthcare treats patients today because it's not healthcare. Exactly. It's sick care. It's basically you get sick. How do we unsick you?
Yeah.
How do we get you better? But I'm just trying. When in reality, it should be, how do we make sure you don't get sick
in the first place?
So that's actual healthcare.
Yeah, exactly. And so 95% of the medical expenses in the US are once a disease has been declared.
Yeah, sure.
And indeed, yes, it's quite like absurd to me that you have two modes. Either you feel bad, you have symptoms, and you are entitled to look for care with a medical appointment, or you just wait to get sick. And today, you can measure a lot of biomarkers, like with the blood or with the devices that can measure your risk factors before you get the symptom. And even if you are healthy, you can also work on some biomarkers to improve your resilience and eventually your longevity. A good example is the VO2 max. VO2 max is the maximum of oxygen that your body can consume during exercise, which is a good biomarker about your cardiovascular health, and is also a good biomarker about your longevity. And basically, that's what I did. My first VO2 max when I was obese was about 37, and now
that doesn't seem too bad.
Yeah, it doesn't seem too bad, but still it's in the bottom third of the population. And I reached up to 60 of VO2 max.
60 of VO2 max right now.
Yeah, and basically by going from the bottom third to the top 1% of VO2 max, I reduce my risk of all-cause mortality by 5 times. And that's basically the type of thing you can measure and improve and prevent getting sick in the first place. Yeah.
So when I hear about the way you describe the Don't Die movement, obviously it's a movement of people, I wouldn't say fanatics, but people who actually love the idea of not dying. And people actually are going to take it to a certain extreme like you. And I'm saying it this positively, I'm saying I myself love the. But it's actually much bigger than this in the sense that if the Don't Die movement is successful, it's going to trigger hopefully something with insurers, with private insurance, with socialized insurance, something where, you know what, maybe we should finance blood testing for the population on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
So that we can anticipate when someone is going to get sick or
And guess what? In the US, it's happening already. Like, I didn't pay for my Apple Watch. My life insurance pays for my watch as long as I work out consistently.
How do they check that? Well, I guess that's where I can already hear people listening, like privacy concerns.
Yeah, that's very European perspective, maybe.
Right. So how do they make sure? How do they ensure you're
basically, they work with a program called Vitality, and then it's just connected to my Apple Health, and it does not know all my activity. It just know that I've done enough minutes of workout. That's all it knows.
What if you stop doing it?
If I stop doing it,
they won't finance the second one.
Yeah, exactly. And also they subsidized my healthy food when I do grocery shopping. And they subsidize my health test and my Whoop band. They basically incentivize me to be healthier because it would be less claim for them.
You know, it's funny. In Japan, I think you need to have a certain BMI, the body mass index, whatever, to be eligible for the Japanese Social Security. And if you get too big, you're not eligible for the Social Security. It's a different concept of like freedom, but so it's more like a punishment. Whereas, you know, this approach is more of the Western approach. Like, how do you incentivize someone to? Everyone is covered, but well, it depends where you are. But how do you incentivize people to be healthier?
Yeah,
fascinating. Let's go to. We mentioned at the beginning you're a VC, you're a venture capitalist. So it's great to have a VC who's actually a longevity loving fan or longevity fan, because hopefully you're going to finance the next big discovery, right? What do you look for one? Do you look at longevity startups?
Yeah, I think it's part of an investment thesis that is worth having. Because I think it's transformational for the whole healthcare industry. So yes, that's something we look at. I'm curious about, and yeah, I'm quite hopeful that we could eventually finance things that will contribute to better health for more people. Yeah.
When you look at longevity, it's part of your thesis. You're meeting longevity startups. What do you look at for longevity startup? Like, what are metrics? Is there metrics, KPI? Is there a particular sub thesis you're looking at? I mean, I'll give you a quick example. I started getting into longevity in France 5 years ago, and the best company I got was a no sugar peanut butter company. Obviously, it's France. That was 5 years ago. The world has changed. But what about in the US? Like, what do you look at right now? Can you name maybe any startups that people could be like, oh, wow, I didn't think about this as
Yeah, so basically, in longevity tech, there is two types of startup. There is the longevity biotech that will be about cellular rejuvenation. So Jeff Bezos, Sam Altman, Peter Thiel, Brian Armstrong, so the founders of Amazon, OpenAI,
Coinbase,
PayPal, and Coinbase, they all have invested in startups in longevity biotech. Okay. So in Silicon
that's a big one.
Yeah, there's many. So the big ones, for instance, Jeff Bezos invested about $3 billion in Altos Lab, which is the leading longevity biotech in the Bay Area. And then you have the non-biotech. And in the non-biotech, that's more what we look at. So at Cathay Innovation, we do invest in digital health. There's a different fund at Cathay Capital. It's called Cathay Health that is more entitled to invest in biotech and medical device, but we look more for the tech bio or the digital health solutions.
And people who don't know, just because you told me off track, Cathay Innovation is a 2.5 billion
euros. 2.5
billion euros fund. It's a massive fund.
Yeah.
So this is what you work. You work at Cathay Innovation. Cathay Capital is a 7 billion fund. But within that, there's 2.5 billion allocated to venture innovation.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's where you work.
Exactly. So Cathay Capital does also do private equity investment. And Cathay Innovation is the venture capital division of Cathay Capital. And indeed, and we just closed our $1 billion fund for vertical AI, which is the largest one out of Europe. But we do invest globally. So we invest in Europe, we invest in the US, in Asia, and we also have dedicated fund in Latam and Africa. So basically, I was going to give you an example of a trend that I see in the US with this blood super test. So the Pioneer was probably a function with this new trend. But basically, the main product is for $500. You get 2 blood tests of 60 plus biomarkers.
Sure.
But what they want to create is the one-stop shop for your health. Eventually, for you to upload all your health data, so the genomic data, gut health data, DEXA scan, etc., to eventually have AI to understand your health
Right.
specifically, and eventually to recommend preventative treatment, more precise treatment. Because for me, yes, like the future of health is 2 words: prevention, precision. And eventually, yes, they can embark these people with this rich data who want to be proactive about their health. Yeah.
This sounds to me like the grail in terms of like, but it sounds to me like there's only place for one startup, and that startup is named Apple, maybe?
Yeah, but so far they.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, you're investing in those companies that Apple will acquire, or do you think they'll actually be a standalone? Actually, maybe there'll be a future just not unicorn, decacorn, or company that will be the one mastering this whole supply chain from testing, analyzing, providing the supplements,
Yeah, and I think maybe we would need a more universal player than Apple, like
and maybe insurance. I don't know. I'm just thinking like there's.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I'm thinking like in the future, the insurance will subsidize or cover most of these blood tests, because of course, like if you can. So there's 2 things: you can prevent disease and you can early detect them. And a lot of people, like for me, like I realized that I was pre-diabetic, and that's how I can reverse it. So it's quite feasible to reverse pre-diabetic. It's almost impossible to reverse when you become diabetic.
No, but my question is, do you really think, I mean, obviously you're an investor, so I think, but there is space to invest in longevity startups today?
Yeah, I think there's a good opportunity. I mean, we'll hopefully try to seize the right one. But yes, obviously, I challenge these models also because I've in the Dandai community in San Francisco, I have members who have been members of Function Health for 3-4 years. Telling me, okay, after a certain point when you found your wisdom, your blood tests will come to be the same. So how do you keep upgraded? For me, I'm a big believer also with AI assessment. So this blood test, could also come to a cost that could be sometimes a lot for a lot of people. But today, with an AI selfie video, you can measure tons of biomarkers. And most people
with just an
you
selfie, you
take a selfie of 30 seconds. And
what's the name of the company?
So there's several ones. The first one I identified was almost 4 years ago from Israel. It was called Bina.ai, and I met them at
Bina,
yeah.
Bina
H, yeah.
Binah, and you upload a video of yourself for 30 seconds.
Yeah. So the first time I met them was at InsurTech Connect, the biggest conference about InsurTech startups. And so yes, basically, I was also looking at my heart rate with my Apple Watch, and I knew my blood pressure, etc. All the biomarkers they were measuring was accurate. So basically, the AI can measure the blood flow in your face, the little movement of your nostril, and so yes,
crazy.
Basically, you can have a health assessment and see if you are in the red. I was in Boston like 2-3 months ago. I was at a demo day. A startup, they were claiming that they clinically prove to have trained an AI to measure your glucose from your voice.
And?
So and
that's crazy.
And that's where it's super interesting, because up to now the AI were doing things that human could do, but just faster and better. Like the typical example is a radiology. But now AI will be able to do things that no humans ever will be able to do.
Kind of like dogs can sniff drugs at an airport. You're gonna have AI sniff. I mean, I'm sure. I met the other day a guy who's actually trying to do AI to smell.
Yeah, I mean. So that's why my vision is that eventually AI can adapt to everyone at their level of ignorance and laziness, and embark them to a healthier journey. Yeah.
You mentioned Boston. I think Houston is also a big healthcare hub, but San Francisco is the place to be for the longevity movement.
For longevity, there's different hotspots like New York, etc. But I think it's mostly with the AI transformation.
AI, yeah. So biotech is going to be maybe somewhere else.
Biotech, you still have San Francisco as a big biotech hub, but the intersection of AI and biology is really here. And to your point also with OVNI, I love that you want to finance entrepreneurs with global vision, And my message also to a lot of like French and European funds is that maybe 5-10 years ago, you could create a startup from France, and have decent success. Yes, I
Not
believe.
Even sure, but
Yes, I believe more in an Israeli model. But I think even today, if you are building an AI company, you cannot not be connected to Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that
we're 100% agree.
It doesn't mean that you need to be here all the time. But you can't build an AI company without Silicon Valley connection. Even if you take Mistral, most of their latest ones were financed by Silicon Valley VC firms. They had partnership with Microsoft, with the AI team here. So some of the team of Mistral is here as well. And basically, yes, all the AI infrastructure is in the Bay Area.
And for the founders we've invested in at OVNI, I promise you guys, we didn't rehearse this. This is coming from a real VC in San Francisco. You talk about France, you talk about Europe, you talk about Silicon Valley. You're a bridge between Europe and the US in a sense, because the big office of Cathay is in France. How do you see a difference in perception with regards to longevity and innovation in Europe versus the US?
Obviously there are differences, but also that's really what I think is one of the greatest strengths of Cathay is to be a truly global VC firm. Again, yes, we do invest in Europe, we do invest in the US, we do invest in China. There's not so many VC firms that can invest in these three territories. Like the US.
You can still invest in China?
Yeah, of course.
Interesting.
And I was in China like 2 months ago. It was amazing to.
How's the longevity movement in China? Is there one?
Yes, they are super into longevity.
That's awesome.
And of course, we all know that the Chinese old medicine was that you were paying the doctors when you when healthy and not when you were sick, And so it was also more deeply rooted in their tradition.
And I think China, I remember, they went from like a vegetarian diet to a Western diet, and then a bunch of disease exploded, and there's a book called the China Book or something. Or
I don't know.
Familiar with this? No.
Yeah, I don't know, but and also China is super big, so there's many different.
Are you vegetarian?
I am not. Yeah,
you're not vegetarian.
Brian Johnson is. I am not. Yeah,
not vegetarian.
But my point is that, basically we have investment committee with investors from all over the world, like from San Francisco, Paris, Shanghai, Mexico City, etc. And then we all look at the deal together, and then we have this global perspective. And I think that's really give us an edge to see if the entrepreneur or the startup we meet is world-class or just best in class in his territory.
Yeah, you need that, right?
Yeah. And that's, I think, for me, like a big asset for us, yeah.
Before we get to the conclusion, I want to ask you 5, rapid fire questions. What's your favorite wearable right now?
I think this is my Oura Ring. Like
the Oura Ring, that's your number one, because I see you have the Whoop, you got the Garmin, you got this, you have the 8 Sleep. It's not a wearable, but it could be a wearable.
I have like a Somni headband, Muse headband when I sleep. So yes,
so it's the Oura Ring. Can you say why?
Because it was the first one for me to better understand my sleep quantity and quality. And for me, sleep is the foundation of health, is the first domino that can be the player for the domino.
How many hours do you sleep a night?
I try to between 7 and 8.
Right. What's one wellness trend that's overrated?
Overrated?
What's one that's maybe bullshit? Well, I wouldn't say bullshit. I want to say overrated.
Yeah, maybe like this vegan burger, for me, it's still ultra processed food.
How would you describe Brian Johnson in one word?
As a genius, yeah.
Genius, I like it. What's your age versus your real age? What's your biological age versus your real age?
So my biological age is 23. My chronological age is 37 today.
37. Yeah. By the way, it's Arnaud's birthday today. And what's your dream startup to invest in?
Really the startup that will help the most people to be healthy longer. Yeah.
Is there a name? Like, no. Let's actually, let me rephrase this. I like your answer, but if you had the opportunity to invest in a startup right now and the founder would say yes, what's the company you'd invest in?
Yeah, I mean,
That's a tough one.
there's one that we are trying to discuss with right now.
We can't tell you that. Okay.
So you'll see in the coming month if I'm very happy.
All right. We're wrapping up this episode. I wanted to end with something inspiring for people who listen to us, because obviously you've gone through a journey that's inspiring, at least to me. We met just 2 hours ago. I'm amazed at
Thank you.
what you've accomplished and who you've become. The reason why I say this is I tried, but I think I failed, in the sense that I really got I really got interested, but kind of never went the full way, and I would have wanted to. Maybe also being in France, it might be a little harder, but it's not a good excuse.
Yeah.
What's your advice to someone listening who wants to live a better, longer life? We didn't talk about the concept of health span, but versus lifespan. But what let's say someone is listening to us, where should he start? I started by reading the book by David Sinclair, Lifespan.
Yeah.
What's your advice?
Of course, like prioritize your sleep, but also I would like to talk about another part of health that we don't talk enough about. We talk a lot about physical health and mental health, and it's social health.
Okay.
So remember that you are the average of the 4 or 5 persons you spend the most time with. So surround yourself with healthy people for your physical and mental health, and then just celebrate that.
So your best friends are people who truly believe in the longevity, or not longevity. They're actually taking care of their bodies.
Yeah, that inspires me. I think I have a lot of friends that I admire, and that make me a better person. And I think that's a trick.
And let me go a bit off. Let me go on a tangent. You mentioned something about social health. You've seen those studies about the people in different islands in Japan, Greece, and I don't know where.
The blue zones, yeah.
The blue what?
The blue zones.
The blue zones. And you look at why there's so many centenarians.
Yeah, centenarian.
And I think the number one reason is because of social context happening.
Yeah, the sense of belonging and community support, yeah.
And is that, I guess it goes beyond, that's the longevity community for you at the moment?
Yeah. And that's also why I love San Francisco, because obviously here everyone is curious, excited about innovation, etc. And so, I was maybe the weirdo everywhere I was before, and then here I'm just a normal geek.
You're a normal geek.
I'm a fish in the ocean, when I was like the fish in a fishbowl where people.
Well, so what do you need to do to be like the different? What's next? So for people listening to us or watching us, Arnaud, he has a treadmill in his desk. He has a stand-up desk. When I saw him, he was drinking longevity drink.
Yeah.
What is something you haven't done yet? And we'll end on this.
Yeah, I'm always curious to learn more. So I don't know what I don't know yet, but I will happy to discover it.
So any entrepreneurs who's listening to us and hasn't heard about what innovation he's building on, please contact Arnaud. Arnaud, you're available on
LinkedIn.
Your last name is Auger.
Yeah.
Auger. Arnaud Auger at Cathay Innovation.
Yep.
Arnaud, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I really had fun. And hopefully see you next time in San Francisco.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much.